Welcome to the Copenhagen Learning Designs podcast, where we explore the fascinating world of cross-cultural competency, inclusion and diversity, onboarding, work processes, education and learning design. Join us as we discuss and dissect these topics, offering insights and inspiration to create truly transformative learning experiences. In this episode, as businesses and organizations grow, so does the potential for conflicts of interest to arise. Conflict of interest is a situation where an individual or organization is involved in multiple interests, one of which could possibly corrupt their judgment or actions concerning another interest. This guide aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of conflict of interest, including its definition, examples, types, importance, policies, training, disclosure, and management. What is conflict of interest? Conflict of interest arises when a person or organization has competing interests or loyalties that could influence their judgment or actions. It can occur in various situations such as financial gain, personal relationships, or professional activities. Despite its negative connotation, not all conflicts of interest are unethical or illegal. However, it is essential to recognize and manage them to avoid any potential harm or damage to the organization's reputation. Conflict of interest definition. A conflict of interest is a situation where a person or organization has multiple interests or loyalties that could influence their judgment or actions towards another interest. The conflicting interest can be financial, personal, or professional, and it can arise in various contexts such as business, politics, or academia. It is essential to recognize and address conflicts of interest to prevent any adverse effects on the organization's reputation or stakeholders. Examples of conflict of interest. Conflicts of interest can arise in various situations, and they are not always illegal or unethical. However, it is crucial to recognize and address them to avoid any potential harm or damage to the organization's reputation. Here are some examples of conflicts of interest. A board member of a non-profit organization owns a for-profit business that competes with the non-profit services. A journalist writes an article about a company that they have a financial stake in. A government official uses their position to influence a decision that benefits their family or friends. A financial advisor recommends an investment that benefits them more than their client. Types of conflict of interest. Conflicts of interest can occur in various situations, and they can be categorized into different types. Here are some types of conflicts of interest. Financial conflict of interest. This type of conflict of interest occurs when a person or organization has a financial interest that could influence their judgment or actions towards another interest. Personal conflict of interest. This type of conflict of interest arises when a person's personal relationships or interests could influence their judgment or actions towards another interest. Professional conflict of interest. This type of conflict of interest occurs when a person's professional activities or affiliations could influence their judgment or actions towards another interest. Importance of addressing conflict of interest. Addressing conflicts of interest is essential to maintain an organization's integrity, reputation, and trustworthiness. Failure to address conflicts of interest can lead to legal and ethical violations, loss of credibility, and damage to the organization's reputation. By recognizing and managing conflicts of interest, organizations can maintain the trust and confidence of their stakeholders and ensure that their decisions and actions are based on merit and not personal gain. Conflict of interest policy. A conflict of interest policy is a set of guidelines and procedures that an organization adopts to identify, address, and manage conflicts of interest. The policy should include definitions of conflicts of interest, procedures for identifying and disclosing conflicts of interest, guidelines for managing conflicts of interest, and consequences for violating the policy. A well-designed conflict of interest policy can help organizations prevent conflicts of interest and maintain their integrity and reputation. Conflict of interest training. Conflict of interest training is a program that organizations provide to their employees to educate them on identifying, disclosing, and managing conflicts of interest. The training should cover the organization's conflict of interest policy, examples of conflicts of interest, consequences of violating the policy, and procedures for identifying and disclosing conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest training is essential to ensure that employees understand the organization's expectations and responsibilities concerning conflicts of interest. Conflict of interest disclosure. Conflict of interest disclosure is the process of identifying and reporting conflicts of interest to the organization. The disclosure should include the nature of the conflict, the parties involved, and any potential impact on the organization. By disclosing conflicts of interest, employees and stakeholders can ensure that decisions and actions are based on merit and not personal gain. Organizations should have a clear and easy-to-use process for disclosing conflicts of interest to encourage transparency and accountability. Conflict of interest management. Conflict of interest management is the process of addressing and resolving conflicts of interest to ensure that decisions and actions are based on merit and not personal gain. Depending on the nature and severity of the conflict, management strategies can include recusal, divestment, or reassignment of responsibilities. It is essential to have a clear and consistent process for managing conflicts of interest to ensure that decisions and actions are fair, impartial, and in the best interest of the organization and its stakeholders. Conclusion. Conflicts of interest are a common occurrence in various organizations and contexts. While not all conflicts of interest are unethical or illegal, it is essential to recognize and manage them to prevent any potential harm or damage to the organization's reputation or stakeholders. By adopting a comprehensive approach that includes policies, training, disclosure, and management, organizations can maintain their integrity, reputation, and trustworthiness. Thank you for joining us on the Copenhagen Learning Designs podcast. To continue your learning journey, we invite you to explore our wide range of educational resources available. From ebooks on inclusion and diversity, onboarding and workplace dynamics to leadership and entrepreneurship. There's something for everyone. Take action now and unlock the power of knowledge by searching for Copenhagen Learning Design on Amazon.com. Don't miss out on the opportunity to enhance your skills and drive personal and professional success.